That's Ray Call. Good morning and happy Visaki to your listeners.
That's Ray Call as well. Before we get into the situation in your riding in Abbotsford, South Langley, what do you make of the debate last night?
Well, on the one hand, pretty much what you would expect to have happen. The other leaders attacking the perceived front runner. We saw that. Really, Mr. Carney's trial by fire, aside from the French language debate, the first time he has been the center of attention, defending his intention and his whatever his vision is moving forward. I would say this: the at least all of the participants were there,
Mm.
all of the main. And that, unfortunately, is not something that voters in Abbotsford and South Langley have been able to enjoy because one of the main contenders, Sukhman Singh Gill, refuses to participate, and that, I'm afraid, is entirely inappropriate, anti-democratic, and very disrespectful to the voters.
Mm. Uh, Specifically in that, I can also tell you this, Mr. De Jong, that we've reached out to, among other candidates, to the Conservative candidate in your riding, Mr. Gill, and we haven't heard back. And we are hoping to have him on air so that we can listen to his vision and see what he has to offer to the voters of Abbotsford, South Langley.
I don't understand why a candidate who was manipulated into the position in the first place would refuse to take advantage of a kind offer from you and other media personnel to speak with constituents. I don't understand why a candidate would refuse to stand up in front of people and answer their questions in advance of an election. It borders on fraud. Honestly, it is fraudulent to manipulate someone into a position in a riding that the Conservative Party has held for a long, long time, and then put him in hiding and refuse and have him refuse to engage with the public. I know this. If a person is not prepared to stand up in front of people and answer their questions before an election, I can guarantee you they are not going to stand up for the people after an election.
Mr. De Jong, let's just maybe recap of how things unfolded. Let's start from 2023, because you posted a pretty long thread on your social media earlier this week. I believe it was late night on Tuesday or Wednesday when you posted all the details of how things had unfolded. Let's just recap. We would like to hear it back from you. When you were contacted by the Conservative Party, was it in 2023, and how things went on from there?
Well, actually, slightly prior to that, when Pierre Poilievre was running for the leadership, I heard him speak, and I heard him speak about things that mattered to me, and I liked what I heard. And he became in contact then, and he and his people asked if I would, as the longest serving MLA in British Columbia, whether I would endorse his leadership aspirations. And I did. And we're very excited about that. They touted the fact that I was the finance minister who had balanced 5 budgets in a row. It seemed that my credentials as a conservative were beyond reproach. I joined the party at that point. I hadn't been a member of a federal party for almost 40 years. And away we went. Fast forward to a little bit past that, and members of the Conservative Party, Mr. Poilievre, suggested I might want to think about running for the party when I said I would. And when MP Ed Fast, respected longtime serving MP Ed Fast, resigned, I agreed to allow my name to stand. I had met with officials in Ottawa. They had and encouraged me that Abbotsford was the place to do that, the place I had represented for over 30 years. You can imagine my surprise and the surprise of thousands of supporters when just days before the actual vote, after the local, and I heard you relate this to your listeners, the local Conservative Association unanimously recommended me to be accepted as a candidate for nomination. They unanimously recommended that Mr. Gill not be approved. Somebody in Ottawa did exactly the opposite. And we don't know why that is. We don't know what arrangements may or may not have been made. But we do know this, that someone in Ottawa decided that they should decide who the candidate is and remove that right from the people of Abbotsford, South Langley.
Mr. De Jong, there is this article this week in the Vancouver Sun by Vaughn Palmer, which goes into the detail of what could have transpired in Conservative Party blocking your way to become a candidate in Abbotsford South Langley. One of the things mentioned in the article, and it addresses the question as well, but I'm going to have it hear from you. There is a rumor that the possibility of why your candidature could have been blocked by the Conservative parties because they felt that you were the finance minister who brought in the carbon tax in British Columbia when it was introduced about 17 years ago. Could you address that rumor? Were you the finance minister at the time?
Well, it's an easy assertion to refute. Of course, in 2008, I was not. Carol Taylor was. I was part of the government. To be clear, look, at the end of the day, there's only one group that can answer the question of why they did, and they refuse to. And we have to assume, and if that's their argument, then they should say so. But they have refused to answer, just as candidate Sukhman Singh Gill refuses to participate in this election campaign in any kind of meaningful way. So I think it does a disservice, quite frankly. It does a disservice to a party that, by the way, I am strongly aligned with on most policy issues. But I profoundly believe that local people should be making decisions about who their candidates are, not someone in Ottawa.
Should you win, should Conservatives form government? Hypothetical questions here. And then they want to make amends. Conservative Party says, let bygones be bygones and let's just join hands. Would you join the party post-election?
Yeah, that too is an easy question to answer because I haven't been shy about indicating where my preference lies. Look, I am an independent candidate for reasons that we've discussed. The grassroots support here has been absolutely phenomenal. I've never seen anything like it. I'm so gratified, humbled, thankful. I would prefer, I believe it's in the country's best interest for a conservative government to be formed. And I've said that from the outset. So I still believe that it is in the country's best interest. The country's best interests are far more important than Mike DeYoung's hurt feelings. So you have to move beyond those sorts of things when we're dealing with something as important as the future of our nation.
You posted a survey on your X account, on your Twitter account earlier this week, which shows a dead heat between yourself and the Conservative candidate, Sukhman Gill. What would you like to say to that? Because if that's the situation, could that vote split essentially help another candidate?
Well, no, and you'll see the numbers demonstrate that this is a two-person race. The Liberal Party, they will get their traditional 24-25%. It is a race between, I suppose, I was going to say two Conservative candidates, but what we also know is that Sukhman Singh Gill, until a year ago, was an active supporter of the Liberal Party of Canada. So I'm not sure about where his allegiances actually lie. But look, that survey, which showed the dead heat, took place over a week ago, before Member of Parliament Ed Fast offered his endorsement, or former Mayor Henry Braun offered his endorsement, before former Mayor George Perry offered his endorsement. All of them longtime Conservatives, all of them urging people in Abbotsford South Langley to support the independent Conservative candidate, Mike DeYoung.
Anything else you'd like to add in closing, Mr. DeYoung, to the voters in Abbotsford South Langley?
Well, what I always do at this time of a campaign, and that is urge people to vote. Ironically, today, as you know, the advanced polls are open. Yes, candidate, and like most candidates, I hope people will consider supporting me. But our democracy is at a fragile point. We're under attack by traditional allies. We need to strengthen our country, and the way we start doing that is by people participating. I would love for people to support me, but some people will and some people won't. But for heaven's sakes, get out there, cast your ballot, and become part of the solution and building a stronger Canada. Please vote.
Mr. DeYoung, I do want to ask you one more question about an opinion piece article that was written by Preston Manning a few days ago in Globe and Mail, where he says that a vote for the Liberal Party would essentially mean that Western Canada would want to break away from Canada. Do you agree with that assessment by Mr. Manning?
I have already indicated that I am not supportive of attempts to re-elect a Liberal Party, Liberal government, but I am a proud Canadian, and the people I speak with are proud Canadians, and we need to the extent that we have differences, we will solve them within the Canadian family, and I will never speak in favor of any kind of a move to break up Canada or to make us, for that matter, part of a foreign country.
Mr. De Jong, thank you so much for your time this morning. Good luck for the rest of the campaign, and we'll talk to you again.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.